Yo, you got Harrington here. Now, Trump's tariffs. Okay, do tariffs ultimately hurt the U.S. economy more than they help? Is Trump doing this as some sort of a political stunt? Is he just trying to get negotiations started with the rest of the world? Yeah, we're not going to talk about any of that stuff. Guys, I mean, I'm not an economist, right? And let's face it, we're not really doing business on a geopolitical level. So let's just focus on the stuff that really matters to you and me. And what matters to you and me? Well, whether these tariffs are actually going to affect our bottom line. And if so, is there anything we can do about it? Let's see if we can make any progress on those items. Here we go. Our Practice Makes Perfect is the podcast for business owners and real estate investors, siempre con un cariño especial para los clientes extranjeros. So, this topic may be dead and gone by the time this episode airs. I do these things usually a week in advance, and things are moving quickly, so I don't even know if you'll care about this, but I am getting calls at the moment, so let's talk a bit about tariff. A little over a year ago, I wrote an article. It was published in International Law Journal. You can be forgiven if you didn't read it. I don't think anybody but students and other attorneys maybe read those things. This was right after the pandemic had broken, and I was talking about some of the new technologies that had been developed during the pandemic, and I hypothesized that some of our services companies might be going offshore in the same way that we saw manufacturing go offshore some years ago. You may recall that it was during the pandemic that we got Zoom, and that along with other technologies such as WhatsApp and instant messaging, it just makes the communication so much more seamless, and everything's online now. So, we could see international services providers taking up more and more of the work that was traditionally done here on shore. I don't know what the statistics are, whether that has borne out or not, but the reason I bring it up today is that I've gotten some calls from my clients who provide services from offshores or across borders, like IT, for example. I remember back in the old days when we first started the law firm, whenever we'd have like a problem, we'd have to call our IT guy, and they would come, they would like drive over and figure out why, the printers aren't working, for example. A lot of that has gone away these days. You probably know what I'm talking about. Your IT company can just remote in. Right? You give them control over your mouse and they just fix things from wherever they are. But what does this have to do with tariffs? Nothing yet, because the tariffs that Trump has proposed that we're looking at, and just traditionally speaking, really only affect the movement of goods across borders, not so much services. However, I still want to bring it up because, as I said, it doesn't affect services companies yet. And the other reason for bringing it up now is that I have a concrete solution for you there. Let's say Trump does come up with a way to tax service providers who are in other countries, India, Canada, Mexico, whatever. Even if Trump does find a way of taxing service providers who are across borders, that's probably something we can easily circumvent. How would we do it? Well, you would establish a U.S. company. And now the work may get done ultimately wherever it gets done, probably in your home country. But as long as you have that foothold here in the United States, you can probably get around those tariffs. So this is part one, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Services companies. I bring it up because even though it's not directly affected at the moment, those are not the kinds of tariffs we're looking at. But if my article is correct and we're going to start seeing more services move offshore in the same way that we've seen with manufacturing and goods, who knows? It could be affected. And I know there's some concern out there. So my suggestion would be, if you are concerned, if you do want to, get things in place prior to there being an actual challenge, actual tariffs, or any threat to the work that you do across borders, well, establish a U.S. entity, and let's get that in place now. Part two, did you know there's something called tariff engineering? I didn't know that. And listen, I'm clearly out of my depth here. I mean, you know your business. I don't know your business. But, to the extent that this might be helpful, let me just run down a couple of items for you. So changing materials maybe is an idea. If there's a tariff against particular types of materials or components and you're able to substitute those with a different type that doesn't get taxed, maybe that's a solution for you. You can maybe look at adjusting your process so that the country of origin could be characterized differently. Sometimes altering your production design can get around certain tariffs and the criteria established by the tariff. And then assembly and disassembly. So maybe you can send the products or receive the products here in the United States disassembled and do the assembly here, and that may help you get around certain tariffs. So that's tariff engineering, and it's not obvious to me how I as an attorney can help you with much of that, but it is on topic, so I thought I'd throw those ideas out there and see if they could be helpful. Part 3, supply chain diversification. All right, now here is something where I have been more involved. I mean, after all, don't forget, guys, we call ourselves international business attorneys, and this is the sort of thing we do. If you are an importer or a retailer, then this is probably something you're already thinking about. I'm sure you do buy products from China and probably Canada and Mexico as well, so I know that this is going to be on your mind. If you haven't already, you'll probably start looking around for alternative countries that will help you avoid the tariffs. Nearshoring, that might be a thing. Now Mexico seems to be in the crosshairs for these tariffs, so I don't know that that's going to be the solution that it once was. But don't forget, we have other nearshoring partners. We have the Caribbean. I'm sure you're going to look, of course, at domestic. See if maybe you can replace some of these foreign suppliers with domestic suppliers, and see if maybe, given the tariffs, that change makes sense. But again, to state the obvious, that's your business. You know that stuff far better than I do. How can I be of any help to you in those endeavors? The answer is experience and training, and in particular the bad experiences, because those are the ones that are the most instructive. But don't forget, guys, I studied in Spain and France and Argentina. We actually have a satellite office in Spain. Oh, and this is an opportunity to mention that we have a new attorney who speaks Russian. So we've got some languages, we've spent time abroad, and then the most important thing, of course, is we have an idea what things tend to go wrong. So I'm talking about things like, moving money across borders. These days, international wire transfers are fraught with peril. And then, of course, most importantly, anticipating the kinds of problems that you might have with these new partners. And then how about choice of law? So when you're writing up these contracts, is it going to be the law of Florida or the law of the foreign jurisdiction? There's actually something called the CISG that it's an international body of law. I took a special course on this, and then in 17 years have almost never used it, but it's a thing. But it's real important, because at the end of the day, the laws of different jurisdictions read differently, and so you're going to want to know which law is going to be more advantageous to you in the event of a potential dispute. Here's another one, international arbitration. You're going to want to make a decision as to whether litigation behooves you or whether you're going to be better off using arbitration should there be a dispute. What about IP concerns, for example? Well, spoiler alert, if you're dealing with China, yes, they are going to steal your IP, almost certainly. And there's probably going to be very little you can do about it. Anyway, I think you get the idea. If you are looking at changing some things up, shuffling a few things around, and I can tell from the calls that I'm getting that some of you at least are thinking about those things, well, those are the items where me or somebody like me can be helpful to you. So that's about what I have for you on this one, guys. Just keep in mind, if you're looking at setting up a U.S. entity, or if you're going to be establishing new relationships with different partners, those are things that we can help with. And then this, quite sincerely, if you have other strategies involving tariff engineering or supply chain diversification, please give me some comments. Please let me hear what you have to say, because genuinely, you know those things far better than I could, and we could all share the information, right? Thanks as always for checking us out. Recuerda que hablamos español. Je peux parler français aussi, plus ou moins. And the stuff down there, the likes, the comments, and all that. Do the honorable thing for me, please. And we will see you next week.